Welcome to the University Park Improvement District recorded meeting records. The board tried to delete these from the internet, claiming it cost too much to keep them saved on Zoom, so now they are here uploaded for free on YouTube. Meet the board members: James Slaymaker, the lying hypocrite; Joanne Zahner, who joined the board because she was upset her neighbor had more cars than her; and Sarah Dole, who agrees with them that it should be illegal for women to be topless.
People, maybe?
Good.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see, University Park Board meeting on June 11th. It is 7 o'clock at the clubhouse, and it's also on Zoom. Okay, all attendants will need to state their first and last name on the sign-in sheet or have the first and last name displayed on the Zoom meetings. This is for proper record keeping of the public meetings. If your first and last name is not displayed properly on Zoom, you can provide it in the chat or speak it aloud at the start of the meeting. If your first and last name has not been recorded by 5 minutes at the start of the meeting, you will be removed from the Zoom. This meeting is being recorded, including both live and Zoom audiences for future reference. Viewer discretion is advised. To adhere to proper record keeping, the audio and visual recordings will stay active throughout all Zoom meetings. Call to order. Board members present: Sarah Dahl, Joanne Zahner, and James Slaymaker. Announcements: annual parks usage flags are here. If you paid and have not received the flag, please let us know. We put them in the mailbox, and we should have brought some here in case anybody needed them. But if you haven't got them, shoot us an email, right? And maybe we missed you. So the board an email. Don't forget the community picnic. It is Saturday, June 21st at 6:30 here at the pavilion. Bring a dish to share and whatever you would like to drink. Thank you to Sarah Dahl, Jim Jackson, Kelly Nelson, and Sandy Williams for putting their names on the ballot to run for the University Park Board. There will be an opportunity for the candidates to introduce themselves at the October board meeting, and the election is in November. Flint Hills Forestry mulching. They completed the job across the street. Final cost was $2,500, which was $500 above the initial estimate due to the increased area that was mulched. They did not do the area across the road due to the fact they were already over the original estimate. That was my decision. But it did turn out nice. There's some trees, large trees that still have to be cut out. We'll do that in the fall when there's no ticks and fewer snakes and stuff like that. So that was the plan all along: leave them big trees and not pay him to grind them up, and we were going to remove them. So, audience comments. Please stand and state your name. If you have any comments, keep comments to under 5 minutes. Be brief and respectful of the board and other community members. The audience will have the opportunity to take part in the discussion of agenda items in the order that they appear on the agenda. Are there any comments from the board?
None.
Does the audience have any comments? So I can know. How about online?
There are no comments in the chat and everyone is on mute.
Okay. So we're gonna say that's over then. Please note the meeting minutes are a brief summary of the meeting. Excuse me. Please note the meeting minutes are a brief summary of the meetings that are kept at a permanent record on the University Park Board website. If you are interested in more details, the Zoom recordings are temporarily posted there and will as well for your reviewing convenience or download. The community will be notified prior to deletion of the Zoom recordings. The board does not keep them indefinitely due to the cost of storage at the website. So we did delete some 2 or 3 months ago. We deleted a year's worth, and we'll give plenty of notice next time we need to clear out. But we do have the notes, the written notes from the meeting that is permanent, and it's at the website. So approval of the April and May meeting minutes and financial report. Are there any comments from the board?
No, I just want to say that my mom had a medical emergency at the end of May that I was up north in South Dakota for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. She's fine, everything's great, but there's a few bills that I did not get paid by the end of the month that probably should have been, or like were expected to be, but I got them paid now and or this week. And so if they show up on June instead, that's why.
Anything else?
Not for me.
The audience have any comments about the April and May meeting minutes and financial report? All right. So I can know, how about online? Anything online?
Nothing online.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the April and May meeting minutes and financial report?
I will motion to approve the April and May meeting minutes and the financial reports.
I second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All opposed? None. Both the April and May meeting minutes and financial report are approved. Okay, old business. Boat ramp. So John is not here, but John did send me excuse me. John sent me, where's John? There's a,
I printed it, but it's really tiny. You want me to read it?
is it in here? Here, I have glasses. Yeah. Seen it. Thank you.
sure.
Let's see, John, boat dock report. Other than the high water, no issues with the boat dock. As of this morning, the lake is 6'9" above normal. That's up 10 inches in the last week. The road to the boat dock is now covered in a few inches of water, but still accessible. He says last Saturday was the busiest day he'd seen on a non-holiday weekend. Parking lot was packed with people parking along the side of the road. Donations, $5 last month. All right, that's the boat dock.
We got a letter in the mail that our annual dock inspection with the Corps is gonna be July 11th, so I'll.
Yes,
reach out.
I have talked to John and John is,
He's tracking that.
yes, he is. John's gonna handle that, so. All right, anything on boat dock, community wise?
I have heard that the lake level is gonna be maintained like at 8 feet above normal pool. While they're doing they're supposed to start doing the dredging down in the River Cove or Mill Creek or Mill Cove, whichever one it is, right across. Instead of going across the dam, you go back east and Sailboat Cove, they call it a lot or whatever. That's
Okay,
so for the barge and that's gonna be on, they have to, so.
is that all summer?
But,
All summer? Is that a project?
I think it's still sometime next year
Oh, no kidding.
before they get this done.
All right. All right, well, that's a problem. You know, meaning leaving the dock in indefinitely till next year, that's not gonna work, so,
So I think it's gonna be at this level or higher.
okay. All right,
So we're gonna try to maintain it there.
then we'll get with John and we'll make a plan and get some volunteers and we'll get it out.
Or office, you know.
Yeah. There's no reason to wait till July though, so we'll confirm that. I'll have John confirm it, just to make sure, you know. Where'd you get it from?
Shortstop.
Oh. Okay, well then, obviously,
It's softball.
yeah,
I did hear it too unofficially.
all right,
But no,
we'll see.
Malty told me that they'll hold us up until they get through with that project.
Okay.
And that's 2026. So we may see a whole bunch of.
Yeah, all right, well then we'll coordinate and get it out. We'll get it done here. Okay, thank you. Golf course, Jeff Luna is not here. Yeah, I didn't get an update from him, so is there anything, Dave, that you know of?
I haven't talked to Jeff for some time.
Okay,
I
well,
would say,
go ahead.
comment in there, when I was out mowing, ball golf. Or disc golf, I mean, where they put the rock, looks like that's holding real well, the bigger rock and then and. So I do need to mow the disc golf.
I think he was waiting to see how it held before he removed this rock and moved it down to the burn pile, but yeah, we haven't got a ridiculous amount of rain. Yeah, enough to really say, particularly for this one right over here. So if it's not a problem, we'll probably just leave it until we confirm, because otherwise we have to stick it right here and then right here again, so, okay. Welcome committee, temporary volunteer Carla Slaymaker.
We have a new member to the community here. Is it Evan?
Yes.
Risden and his family have moved in on Rimrock. But we have not officially welcomed them. Oh, Hawthorne, I'm sorry. See, I should ask him where he is.
Is that the Keck house?
I can't tell you where it is.
Right north of Dalton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keck Sold.
Okay.
Keck Sold house.
Well, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah, I think your wife posted, right?
no, that was someone else.
Oh, okay,
One other person new to the community that did post.
okay.
The other big house, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, you're absolutely right.
I've known Evan since he was a baby. He's a good guy.
Good.
All right. We got a good one here.
I'm chasing him around. I used to drive by his house every day. Now I'm back.
All right, well, welcome. Let's see, Firewise, Carla Slaymaker.
But James pretty much said what we did with the mulching, and there's still some work that will need to be done over there. We'll probably won't plan another work day until it cools down and there's less snakes and ticks. But, there is obviously always still work to be done, and if you're out and about and want to do something in the park, or you see something that needs done, that's always okay too. But, make sure you report your Firewise hours so we can maintain that status and stay Firewise safe. You can just send them directly to the board. That would be great, and then they get them to me. It's universityparkboard@gmail.com. You want me to write it down? I can give that to you. No problem.
And you were looking for another volunteer, I think you were saying, Ms. Slaymaker?
I am looking for someone to take over chairing the committee. We file an annual report in November, and I'm happy to teach someone how to do that in November and then hand off the mantle. But I'm willing to help as it moves forward, but I do want to hand that off to someone else.
Thank you. Parks and Rec, Kurt Frederick.
No, they had board meeting last night, quarterly board meeting last night. I was unable to attend. I kind of gave them a report what we're gonna be doing here. I mean, they know what we're, we got the money for this pickleball, basketball for it. So just kind of, we'll get going on that here now.
Yes, roger that. Okay, thank you. Sherman Township, Tracy Sabo is not here. Anybody here from Tracy?
She did ask if they're gonna have a July meeting and they said they haven't scheduled anything yet. Definitely no meeting in June and they're hoping to schedule a July meeting.
So I did see them come out and work the ditches there on Redbud a little bit. And you know, I can't say it's any better, but I wouldn't say it's any worse. So anyway, okay. So you have a problem with the road, contact Sherman Township. We can provide that information if you don't have it already. With the gravel roads, not the paved. Golf course, prairie management, Laura Mendenhall.
Laura said everything's been sprayed and the burn is gonna take place, I believe, in the fall. But
The first spray of the year, right? I mean, there's a
yes,
second.
correct, yes.
Cause I think they may have to go back down to the burn pile.
Yeah, I think she was planning on that.
Okay,
Where the planning on burning?
Well, they're not gonna burn until next, like in the fall, winter.
Then I mean, where at?
golf course somewhere. It's
Yeah.
not, it hadn't been pinned down.
Yeah,
But if you didn't catch that, Don, we're gonna get them back down there and spray the burn pile again. Because I noticed there's quite a bit of, some of the weeds didn't get all the way knocked down, so. If you'd ask,
I will.
or you know, when she plans on coming back, just so we know.
Will
But
do.
I'd say sooner than later, because we're gonna need to burn down there at some point.
got it.
And next year that we need to get them before they get that tall.
Yeah, get them earlier.
But in fact, I think downstairs is better.
All right, equipment, Kurt,
All working, as far as I know, and everything from Jerry, and he was out just throwing ball golf the other day.
all right, good.
On bracket to prairie management, just real fast, Travis Gilbert commented online, I would like to give Bryson thanks for hand digging out invasive thistles in our parks.
Oh, did they go out and chop it?
They must have.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
I saw somebody out. and they were just-
yeah, every year there's less. You know,
They hit them, both of them, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of spread a lot when in 2016 University Park mowed them while they were in seed. That's when record.
okay, so, sewer lagoon update.
Posted online. We haven't gotten an update this month, but the latest update's posted on the University Park website.
Okay. Firehouse building, work continues. The bathroom is complete. We did offer to provide the sink and the toilet, but they already installed it. So they built the walls and I looked in the other day. It's moving right along, so. Haywood Park sign, Brian McNulty is working.
James?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
On the firehouse, got
Yeah.
a question. Was it part of the agreement that UP and the county fire made and signed, for the swap of the land and the old building for them to take and move the propane tank over to the new building?
It was not in writing. I'm assuming that they filled the tank, so it was either they owned it or they leased it. I mean, unless somebody can prove the UP bought the tank 50 years ago. I figure they're gonna take the tank.
When you sell a house, you don't pick up the
Okay.
propane
It,
tank.
it is not in writing in the contract about who owned the propane tank. So, you know, we're not gonna repossess it. It's gone. You ain't got any heat in that building, so you're gonna be just as welcome in the next one.
Well, if you wanted to, if you wanted to keep.
You're
heat
right.
in that barn, now we're gonna have to put a propane tank.
Right, we'd end up leasing one. You know, it's not that much money. You know,
Yeah, you better off just buy it.
and we can buy it. When the time comes to make the decision, we can work that out. That's a ways out, so. All right. Well, let's see, firehouse, we're complete. Hayward Park, so Brian McNulty is working on the sign. You didn't know Brian, he's retiring from the Army Corps. He's been the primary point of contact for UP for many years. And our new contact is Caleb Snyder. If anybody knows who he is, he's the primary point of contact now. So anyway, thank you, Brian, for all he did. He's also the guy that mows around the University Park sign. When you come off of University Park Road to Highview, he mows that. He's mowed it for years. He don't live out here. He mows it because they fill up the fire trucks there. And you know, he didn't want to walk in the tall grass, but he also drives by that sign and he likes it to look nice. That's his only way home. So, you know, thank you
Good
for
person.
what he does for us. I appreciate that. Pickleball court. Mike Couch and Heather Morgan, they're spearheading the project. You got a short update on that? The short?
We will, by next month, we will have all the bids and it looks like they'll be very close to on budget.
Outstanding. Thank you. Thank you for handling that for us. Appreciate it. Okay, update from the Army Corps engineers concerning catfish carcasses left in the boat dock area. Joanne Zanis.
So Angelia Lentz did come out and she's
Who's she?
with the Corps of Engineers. And she's been watching it because we had a whole bunch of disposal of fish remains. Anyway, she put together a letter and recommended a sign. We asked, could they make a sign and post it because it'd be a lot more effective. Anyway, she said if any residents if they could continue to report any violations to the Tuttle Creek office of the Corps of Engineers, and the descriptions of the violators' boats and vehicles would be very helpful. And she's looking into the signs, the post down there. I think it's gotten better. I think maybe Sandra put some signs on trucks, and that may have helped people understand that we're coming down there to fish. You don't clean your fish at the,
I think Don had some conversations with some of the guys.
and you had some
It
good
was helpful.
conversations?
Yeah, I did. I talked to some of the guys. I had good talk with them. I just told them, I was several of the people out here have kids who play down there. And it's not appreciated that playing all that mess.
But I've seen you dump buckets of fish heads off the dock.
And,
I've seen you dump buckets of fish heads off the dock. Yeah.
well, maybe I do. But you can't prove that.
Well, I do have the recording recording to your wife. We demand technical favors.
Please be have the decency to shut your mouth if I get done.
Okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right? Thank you. Now, I did talk to Thor about it, and they said they would furnish a sign, which they did. They gave me 2 signs. And I asked them, I said, can you, I'll get it loaded if you'll tell me what you want loaded. But it has to have teeth.
So the sign they sent doesn't have teeth, It says no fish cleaning.
Nope.
And nothing about the core. And I talked to her today, she's going to look into, because if it's least, she doesn't know what they are supposed to put down there. It is not a fish cleaning station, though. There are fish cleaning stations at different ones, and we'll see what she comes back with.
Yeah, we'd have to come up with probably a fish cleaning station, which we do not want.
No, we won't be doing that here.
I've been around those before, it takes on, you know, what.
No, absolutely not. But she's keeping watch on it. Anybody sees any more dumping, they're supposed to call the Corps. And then we'll figure out what's happening with the sign, whether they will
Yeah,
provide
we,
one or not.
we told her that we want the Army Corps to put the sign up and have the enforcement. We are not going to enforce no fish cleaning, you know, and go down there and try and police that. That's ridiculous. Let the Army Corps be the hammer.
That's what I say. It's gotta have speed.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see. It's hanging and they're looking at it. So I suppose we're gonna hear.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate to that on social media and put the core phone number there?
Oh,
Or not?
we could absolutely put the Corps phone number in the meeting minutes.
Yeah, but even on, just a post on our University Park.
Great idea. And
President page.
I can send an email out too.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Okay, other things to think about that need to be resolved in the future at some point. We plan for utilizing the old firehouse. Propane tank's an issue for that. Sewer lagoon project's gonna be later this year, and then after that, reconfiguring the golf and the disc golf layouts. So those have to be resolved at some point. Okay, so now we're gonna move into the covenant discussion and vote to update or eliminate. So we're gonna vote tonight on whether to update or eliminate the UPID covenants. We have had 3 special meetings beginning in March to discuss the future of covenants. We offered the opportunity to the community members to respond to a survey with their vote at the beginning of the process and again after the last meeting. The final survey results on Facebook was 19 residents voted to eliminate the covenants and 1 voted to update. Through email, we had 24 responses, all in favor of eliminating the covenants. 13 of these were confirmed residents, the rest were anonymous responses. We do appreciate those who took the time to come to the meetings and contact the board and give your input and take the time to do the survey. You know, it helps make the decision on what has to happen. So, by the way, the original survey had 14 responses, 10 that wanted to eliminate the covenant and 4 that would prefer to update it. So, covenant 21 of the original covenant document says that the covenant shall run with the land and shall be binding upon all lots in said University Park Improvement District until same are changed or eliminated. So that's the authority that we have, that all boards have, to update the covenants or to eliminate them. So once this vote is completed tonight, the board will prepare the appropriate documents for the official signing next month. We will vote first whether or not to eliminate the covenants and rely completely on Riley County regulations and enforcement, and then have a second vote about updating if needed. So if the first one to eliminate is the answer, then we're not going to vote on update. We don't need to. So are there any comments from the board at this time? No? Okay, any comments from the audience here?
All right, so like, when you started having these covenant discussions in March,
Can you please state your name?
oh, my name's Danielle Macon. I live on 72 Mound Ridge Drive. You told me I could come and speak at this meeting all I wanted to last time, because I've been coming over and over again asking you to correct your misquotes to me ever since the beginning. So am I allowed to speak all I want this time? I mean, you had 2.5-hour long meetings about me and my donkey February of last year, and you continue to have many hours of talks. You spent up to $500 an hour talking to a lawyer about me. Is it my turn to talk yet, or are you gonna continue to silence me?
So Is this about the covenant discussion, about how we're gonna vote to keep or to eliminate or update the covenant?
This is
So,
that time.
so this, you want to discuss the covenants? Okay, that's fine, then go ahead,
I have about 15 questions.
about the covenant. Okay, go ahead.
Or about other actions of University Park. So speaking about the covenants, why did University Park call the police on me for parking on the side of the road?
I don't know.
But it's against the covenants.
Okay,
Okay, and then they try to say that the University Park said that over and over again, it's been quoted, claiming that the covenants say we have to mow 3 times a year, but the covenants don't say anything about that. Why did I have harassment from University Park being forced to mow at the beginning of the pandemic when several of my neighbors didn't?
I don't know.
Okay. So if the lawsuit was about the covenants, then why was Carrot here for 5 months before the lawsuit started?
I'm not sure.
Why did you only come after Carrot then, if that was about the covenants, after I put up my sign saying University Park is a giant pile of shit?
I don't think the two items are related at all.
Because Carrot was here for 5 months before, that's all. Then put up the sign, all of a sudden, you talked about the sign, said you couldn't sue me for that, and then immediately you started talking about suing me for Carrot.
Okay, keep going. I
Alright.
don't have an answer.
All right. So, let's see, and if the lawsuit was about the covenants, why did you advise people repeatedly to sue me if University Park lost? You
I
just-
don't recall that.
I can show you multiple quotes, and if you want to talk about it next meeting, we can.
I,
Okay? You will not say you don't recall that as a way to avoid a question.
I don't
You stated-
recall at
Okay.
this time.
All right, well, you specifically stated, if I can do my best to quote it word for word, I might not get it. But you said, and y'all 3 were there, and it's all recorded. As far as property values go, University Park will not be suing her for your property values. By the way, you talked about your property values specifically at my replat repeatedly. Yours.
Okay,
And you said, you told people that if they sold their properties and then the donkey was having her ass hauled out in a trailer, then their properties go back up, you advised everyone to sue me. Why do you think it's okay to advise the entire neighborhood to sue someone
I
for having a disability?
don't recall.
Because the covenants say.
Don't
you can't have
recall.
it. All right. So the purpose of the lawsuit for the covenants was to protect the value of a landmark park worth $3,000. Why did you spend over 3 times as much suing me for having a disability assistance animal?
That was not the reason the lawsuit was brought.
And
Oh.
what number question are you on? Because you're at 3 minutes and 18.
Oh, yeah, see, I was told I can talk as much as I want to at the
What
next meeting.
question number are you on,
It
please?
doesn't matter.
You said you had 15 questions. I'd just like to know how many.
Oh, don't worry, there's not much more. You
Okay,
can keep count.
I'm
You're
delighted.
able to. All right, so this landlocked park, I tried to buy it before University Park ever came after me. Also, University Park tried to give that landlocked park away to my neighbor for free to save University Park residents tax money. Why didn't you sell it to me?
I'm not aware of anybody was offered the land for free.
They were.
Okay, once again, I'm not aware. And as far as we didn't offer you, we're not interested in selling that land
Mhm.
To anyone.
to anyone.
Okay, so
This
why is
board.
it that you knew in February of 2024 and you sued me for breaking the covenants? Why didn't you tell the neighborhood that she was a federally protected disability assistance animal, even though you knew it in February?
I don't recall what was said. I
I
don't,
got the letter from my official.
okay, once again, I don't recall what was said at the meeting. So
No,
keep
you
going.
responded in,
There was lots of details within the lawsuit that were not shared publicly. The majority of the details, which would include your ESA letter, were not shared with the public at any meeting. They were discussed between the boards in special private meetings, and they were discussed with our attorneys, and they were discussed with your attorney. The details of the case were not made public. If you wanted to make public your assistance animal and her status, that was on you. That is not a responsibility of ours to share to the public.
Okay, yeah, at the replot meetings, James Slaymaker was publicly told repeatedly that she's a disability assistance animal. All right. So you told me last meeting that the reason why Carrot was targeted and not chickens was because it had been normal to have chickens for 8 years. Thing is you had chickens 9 years ago. So if you sued me because it's not normal to have livestock, why were you not sued for having chickens when it wasn't normal?
I have no idea what the previous board, hey, one more question, that's it.
No,
It's, you're past 5 minutes, so we'll give you one more. So the one that's important to you,
So you
please.
have 3.5 hours to talk about my carrot and I can't. Anyways,
Excuse me.
why did you're not supposed to interrupt me. when I'm
Don,
talking.
just let her have her last question, please.
But yeah, last, because you're boring me to death.
Go ahead.
Why was I denied Zoom links up
Oh.
until I showed up in person?
Denied what was that?
Zoom links. I wasn't allowed access.
I have no idea.
Why did you repeatedly say that my replat was about carrot when it was about my shed?
That's not what it was about as
Yes,
far as
you
I,
were told repeatedly it's about the
Okay.
shed. You were told that by Bob Isaac, Wayne Lambert,
okay,
and me.
that's enough. Thank you for your input. Your time is well past expired.
Oh, one last question.
Last one.
Would you rather come to an agreement for the documented discrimination I have going back to 2016 now? Or would you rather go back to court?
So,
Do note that University Park would have to pay the legal fees, and if I win, which is very easy to do, every single property owner's taxes is gonna have to pay for the damages. It's gonna be split up around residents and property owners.
yeah,
So-
she's right. That's right. If we got a letter from her requesting $35,000 for her to
Do my not,
be nice and to go away quietly and as a peace offering or something.
yeah, I believe that settling things out of court and talking about it beforehand is the adult thing to do, instead of just suing people.
But once again, it was not an official request. It was a fishing expedition. It was a
Okay,
swag.
then I'd like to make the official.
Then
request.
send us an email officially requesting. That's what we need, not
Okay.
just a random spit of words that are coming out. We need something a little more
Well, I
official.
just say it aloud, just so people know what I'm gonna be requesting, and
Okay.
I'm not silenced by University Park again.
That's
I'm
fine.
gonna be requesting that park and $35,000 so I can do my nonprofit and help people that are disabled with PTSD and on hospice care.
All right. So thank you for your input.
Now, if you are, you're sounding more like a threat to me.
Really, you're the one that told me to get my ass out of here on a recording.
That would be a good idea.
And then repeat it,
If
All right,
you
Don.
wanna leave, there's.
that's not what you
Right
said,
out
it's
the
yours.
road, take it.
Oh, no.
If
Hey.
you don't like it out here.
Anyways,
it's
we ended the
time to
meeting.
go.
Don,
Just rambling.
Yeah.
thank you, Don.
I have one comment after this. One quick one.
Okay,
I can see you're having big feelings, but it is not okay to insult people. You said I can't count. You've said lots of things. We
You
understand,
could count.
we understand you're having some really big feelings, but just come and talk, but not go on and insult people, please. That's all
I
we
said
ask.
you could count.
Okay, well, thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, you're more than capable, I'm sure.
all right. So is there any more discussion on the covenant from this room here, from this group? Is there anything online? Any comments written or anything?
I see no comments in the chat and everybody
you might
is
request
still
me.
on mute.
Okay. So let's see here. I gotta catch up here. I see a comment. Okay, so how about board? You guys got anything else to say?
No,
Sarah? Neither do I. Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve the elimination of the University Park covenants and rely on Riley County regulations and enforcement?
I make a motion that we move forward with eliminating the University Park covenants and rely on the Riley County regulations and enforcement.
and I second it.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All opposed? It's 3-0 pass. It has been approved to eliminate the University Park covenants and rely on Riley County regulations and enforcement. So we'll prepare a document and we'll sign it the next meeting. So if there's any reason why that's not gonna happen, you got a month. And we'll sign it and then we'll take it up to the County of Deeds and get it stamped and make it official. So, okay. So that's that. And then new business. Hey, okay, I'm sorry, yeah. Is there any discussion after that? We can have a discussion, Don.
Well, I've got second take off. You got a damn sight tougher skin than I got.
That's all right.
That's all I got.
That's just to work through it. All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else on the covenant as far as what's happened here? We're gonna sign it next month. It's gone, it's eliminated permanently. It's been in place since 1980, so it is 45 years. It's a long time, but all good things come to pass. So new business. So So as part of the covenant discussion, kind of touched a little bit on what she was saying. Discussion of non-compliant lot owners can discuss non-compliant lot mowing by UPID that is billed to Riley County property taxes. For those of you who are not familiar, historically, the board has mowed lots with overgrown grass and then billed the lot owners. The property owners were notified of this requirement to mow grass with a yearly letter in the spring. University Park is a taxing authority, meaning the board sets the mill levy for the University Park property residents. That is what allows the board to mow non-compliant lots and put the fees on their taxes. That's directly from the county told us that. Some boards have chosen to do this and some have not done it consistently. I have been filing these tax assessments for the last 3 years, following Riley County Resolution 12706-70, and it basically is a 12-inch height, where UP used to have a deal where they'd say you mow 3 times a year. It was the holidays, Labor Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July. But we pretty much shifted over when that document got signed by Riley County. That 12 inches is what we've been going by. So I'm not going to continue with this practice because I think it's important to utilize Riley County for enforcement. Same thing the covenant said. We just did away with the covenant. We're now relying on Riley County. Riley County has a policy. There's a method in place to make, we'll say complaints, but to make a notification to Riley County if someone has not mowed their grass, and they will handle it. And that's what I recommend. So I will say, if one of the other board members wants to continue this current policy, that's up to them. I'm not going to do it.
I would not like to do it either.
Okay.
Well, Kurt's under.
Yeah.
So let's just say it's all official, even though it's not a month away yet, that the county's gonna do this. Will the board report to the county, that, hey, there's a lot here that hasn't been mowed, needs mowed, it's 12 inches tall? Or is that gonna have to be left up to every individual out here if they don't like the lot next to them that's 12 inches tall?
Right. So here's how I would say. I would say, don't call me to call the county and say the grass ain't mowed. Okay. Don't send an email to the board unless one of these other 2 board members say, yeah, they're going to handle that for you. I would say, as adults, if you have a problem with your neighbor's grass or the height of the grass in the University Park, first thing is talk to these, if you can, talk to the people, and maybe you can just, maybe it's a health issue. Maybe there's something going on and you can help
Usually
through.
The lots, they're vacant.
It is.
They're non-resident.
Right. There's one out here now that there's a previous property owner who don't live here anymore and it's out of control. But anyway, you're right. It's normally vacant lots. I agree 100%. So you can contact them. You can mow it. I'm sure they thank you, or you can call the county up and make a notification and let the county send them a letter to tell them the importance of mowing their grass. Apparently they don't know that if they don't live here, and work through that process. I'm sure it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be fast, but that's why I want to do it now, because it gives the future board, the next board, the opportunity. If it doesn't work, if the county doesn't send the letters and nobody mows the grass and it's a mess, then the next board can choose to initiate back to mowing. It's the authority is there to do. But if we don't test it, then we're not going to know if it works. And I want to test it. I'm willing to take all the bullets, test it all. Make a lot of people unhappy. And no doubt, residents out here are not going to be happy when the grass didn't get mowed next door. I know. Okay. I have 2 lots by me. I'm not going to let it get tall. I'm going to mow it. Okay. I'm not going to call them. I know they don't want to mow. I know they don't care. I'm just going to take care of it. So that's a choice we have to make as individuals on what you want to do, how you want to handle it. But if you want to make a point of it and you want to call the county, that's up to you. So yeah, every property. Yes. Say your name.
Mow the lot, is that to the property line or to the street edge?
Okay. What's your question? I'm not sure the whole question. What are you asking?
You have to mow just to your property line and from there to the street is some.
I got you, man. That's what you're saying. So
What do you gotta do?
well, there is township and county property between your property line and the road, but they don't mow it. Now, we do send the mower out periodically through the year and we mow the ditches. It's just a courtesy that we do.
Okay,
But I mow my ditches, man. I mow my ditches all the way to the ground.
All I'm asking is, because on my lot over 180, on rim rock, there's not a blade of glass on the whole.
I agree, it's not your problem.
But I'm interested in buying a lot to the west of me, and there's a small, right at the front grass. And I've been trying to get wildflowers to grow in there, but it's only a few feet, but it's mostly about half on the lot and half up to the street.
Right, so what I would do on that dead end cul-de-sac,
Go,
I would talk to your neighbor, because there's only two people drive down that road, you and them.
yeah.
And if they're happy and
They're
you're
happy.
happy and you got wildflowers blooming, you
I'm
know,
not gonna worry about it.
I would say. Hopefully somebody has a problem with what you're doing. Someone's gonna knock on your door and say, hey, man, what are you doing with that grass? And there'll be an explanation and they'll say, okay, great.
Well, I locked down to the fall.
James. We also posted online, you can also, there's a link online where you can report a nuisance. You can do that too. So if you have a problem with somebody's lot, you can report it online and we'll see. And we can start doing this now. You're saying.
We
don't have
need to
wait.
start doing it now. We are not force mowing anybody's lots this year. I'm done. We haven't done any this year yet. Have not done one. We're not gonna do them. So it'll
When
be,
you officially adopt the covenants, you're gonna put the Facebook post with this is how you contact Riley County.
yeah, I think we have already, but we will, when we do the whole covenant thing, we will definitely post that up. The other thing I found out
Good point.
today,
2 to 3
There
months
is-
into the county will do something.
there is an
Yeah.
anonymous way to make a report with the police. With you can go online and check a box, and we'll post this too, that you don't have to always give your name if you have a problem. And you don't want necessarily, you know, police knocking on your door, that option is there. We will post that option out there. Because, you know, it's come up recently, you know, folks didn't want to call because they didn't want their name out there, but there's a way to still make a report and not necessarily get a police pulling up in your driveway. So we're gonna post that up too. All right. So, okay, so then the last bit of this thing, and we're gonna have a discussion afterwards. It's all right. If any of us have a problem with the community member's grass being too tall, which is over 12 inches in accordance with the Riley County reg, you can work it out with a property owner or contact Riley County Planning and Zoning. We will post the information. If future boards want to mow and file these assessments, they still have the authority. It's totally up to them. You know, we're not, by us stopping it, we're not preventing future boards from initiating this. If it doesn't work, that is still out there. You know, we're not tying any hands. We are tying hands with a covenant. That'll be done. That'll come off the website at the end of the next month. There'll be no covenant. The welcome packages will line out all the word covenant. Anyway, okay. Now, any discussion from the board about this issue, the mowing?
I do have a question. The mowing letters that we already sent out this spring, as people send money and checks for us to mow their lots, are we still doing that portion of mowing?
We are. They paid us to mow and we are gonna mow.
So are you talking about that going away next year as well? So we won't send out, hypothetically, won't send out mowing letters next year?
Yep, good question. I would say that's a question for the next board to determine if they want to mow vacant lots, if they want to offer that option. It's, you know, Kurt, you mow them. Is it the big haul to mow the few lots that they're asked to mow?
But Derek mowed vacant lots.
Okay.
I didn't, but I did mow around the roadsides.
Yeah. It'll be a discussion.
So if I'm not supposed to mow down Hawthorne anymore, I need to know that.
Well, don't mow his
Yeah.
at the end.
It's not mine yet.
Okay, mow it.
Okay. But I did make one swap, you know. A lot of places, there's enough trees along the roadside, you know, it's just half the mower width is all I'm getting, I'm even that.
Trees
Yeah.
along, actually, it's almost tunnel.
Yeah.
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 Okay, well, okay, any comments online?
I see no comments online.
Okay, anything from the board? All right,
Nope.
done deal. Rental house. So those of you, there's some new folks, if you don't know, University Park owns a rental house they have for, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years, however long it is. And it's the house right next to the water tower.
Between the two firehouses.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, exactly right.
I couldn't figure it
So
out.
that's the house we're talking about. All right. And everybody else knows, so, let's see here, and just a little story here. I got a call the other evening, and there's a reason for this story, it's money. Got a call the other evening, the washing machine was backing up in the basement through the floor drain, contacted Hood the next day to come out and snake the drain. They snaked the drain from both sides. The condition of the drain required commercial steam cleaning of the line. We initially thought the line was collapsed due to the severity of the obstruction, so the steam cleaning was a much better option. As a reminder to all of us, property owners are responsible from your house to the main sewer line. Wipes, grease, I didn't know about this one, ramen noodles. I guess all pasta is bad. Rice is bad, but ramen noodles, the plumber said, is the worst. It's small, it's shredded up. And if you run it down the garbage disposal, it gets chopped up smaller and it goes down the drain and it sucks up water and it inflates like a styrofoam and plugs the thing up hard. Who would have thought? I didn't know that. The plumber told me the story. So anyway, lesson about ramen noodles. So eat them, don't throw them down the drain. There's hardly any calories in them. Let's see. So the drain has been cleaned and inspected with a camera. So what does that mean? I haven't got a bill yet, but it's going to be a lot. That's what I'll say. We didn't run through the board. When somebody's got water coming through the drain, just as any of us, it doesn't necessarily matter what it costs. We're not looking for the lowest bidder. We need the guy that will come in the morning. And that's what we did. So I suspect it's over 1,000 and hopefully it's close to that. That's what I would say. We'll see. I haven't got a bill yet. So anyway, that's a pending thing that we're going to have to pay when it comes in. So here's the other one. Renters notified the board 2 weeks ago. And I'm telling you this because this is the rental is owned by University Park. And we're going to have to spend some money here. So I want you to know the condition and the reasons why. That's why I'm reading this. It's kind of weird reading this, to be honest. But renters notified the board 2 weeks ago. They had a mice problem and they had gotten a quote for remediation back in November. The quote included replacing all the insulation in the attic at a cost of $17,000. Just let me get to the end. I contacted American Pest and they came out and did an inspection last week. They found indications that mice had been present in the attic at some point, and they found current evidence of mice activity in the house. American Press did not recommend remediation of the attic. They recommended sealing the exterior access points and setting traps to remove mice living in the house. They quoted sealing the house and setting traps. It's around $1,100-$1,200 for that step. And then it's like $30 a month. And we'd have to continue that for a bit until the mice problem is, you're never going to kill every mouse, but you'd like to, down to one or none. How's that sound? So that's the situation. After walking through the property with American Press, I am recommending to the board to pursue the corrective service option. They offer to seal up exterior entry points for mice and set traps to catch the mice that are already in the house. The tenants will also need to do their part by not leaving open food out in the house. Once the exterior entry points are sealed and mice removed, the responsibility for maintaining the rodent-free home will fall on the tenants. So I walked the house. There are entry points in the house. So there's no doubt. I seen them, and I mean, they got in the house, and there's food in the house. And mice like to eat. So we as a community have a response as a landlord. You have a responsibility to try to keep the mice out of the house. When there's straight up access, we have a responsibility to plug the access, I feel, and eliminate the mice that are in the house. And that would entail not poison, but it's traps, sticky traps in the garage. We're going to do what's going to happen is the garage is going to be a mouse zone. Okay, the garage door's open all the time. We're going to we're going to attempt to keep the mice in the garage and outside, but not into the basement. You know how there's a wall going down the middle, and there's three things that have to be done that they will not do. One of them is there's a bunch of holes drilled in the wall where they blew insulation in that interior dividing wall, and we have to seal that up. They call that structural. They don't do structural. There is the old vent in the basement where the dryer used to discharge. Okay, well, the flapper's gone on it. It's a hole right inside. So that needs to be removed and plugged. They don't do that. And then there's some damage on the soffit, some water damage. That it's not really a mouse entry, but I've seen it. So that needs to be fixed. So I'm going to take care of those three. All right. But the other one, I recommend that we pay a professional on their recommendation to initiate these repairs and remediation, on their recommendation. This is not us saying what needs to be done. This is a professional. So let's see here. Just 1 second here. Make sure I didn't miss nothing. Okay. Are there any comments from the board?
My comment would be that we do the initial fee to seal everything up, get it in a good, stable position, and we pay for 3 months worth of the trap maintenance. There's a comment in the audience that mouse traps don't cost $30 a month. you're right, but we're also paying for the traps, the time for the company to come out and check and change them, and then maintain all of those access points that we seal up. Something I don't want to do. It's something I don't think anyone else up here wants to do. If anyone in the audience wants to volunteer to do that, then sure, we'll save $30 a month. But I say let's pay it for 3 months on the premise that the tenants maintain mouse-free environment. So seal their food containers, their dog food containers, all those things nice and clean, tidy, plastic tote bins, or somewhere else. If month 3, they haven't been maintaining that, then they can reimburse us for those 3 months and pay for all of the months moving forward. But for us to get to a stable position, let's pay for all the initial setup stuff and 3 months of monitoring, more or less, and then they can take it from there.
So the only thing about that is I asked him how long he thought it would take. And he would not give me, he didn't give me 3 months. He didn't give me 6. He said he doesn't know. Basically, it's how many mice are in the trap and when do they start slowing down? And they go in and well, their first quote, they're supposed to go in and vacuum all the mouse poop up. And that's one of the indications of how many mice you got is how much poop you got on the ground. So, it's things like that are the indicator of how long I'm just saying, I don't think we can limit it to 3 months is what I'm saying. I mean, I like 3 months, but I think we need to.
I'm not saying Best Pest can only be there for 3 months. I'm saying we only pay for it for 3 months. And then the tenant would take over that payment responsibility and Best Pest would keep coming back. So if it takes 6 months, we pay 3, they pay 3. If it takes 9 months, we pay 3, they pay 6. If it takes 8, whatever it takes, just at some point, the tenants are assuming that liability and responsibility.
It seems reasonable.
I agree.
So what about, yes, audience? Don Turner?
I was just wondering, what would be wrong with having a professional come around every so often and checking? And we paid the first part of it, kind of like what she's talking. And then after that, the tenant would pay a part of that. And that way you can have a continuous monitoring of the situation. And once that is, completely stopped, well, then you can go through the person that's doing the checking. Is it stopped? Yeah, okay. So you can, at that time, the charge is stopped.
Yeah.
And that way, we're not always paying the bill.
So you're
Right.
suggesting $15 by them, $15 by us to continue it?
I'd rather just do Sarah's thing if we were to do something like that. That was a straight up.
Yeah.
Has started working the deal, this is just a for example. Everyone's supposed to change all of the filters in the furnace and this and that, yes, they don't.
Nope, they don't.
So he changes it for them, puts it on their bill. And he says, that way I know it's done.
Okay,
They're paying for it, but I mean, it's just a way of keeping it current, keeping it done.
I would say that I don't think we can lock it down until we talk to the tenants, and we're gonna talk to them this weekend about this. In fairness to them, I don't want to say this is what it is and we stamp it. We need to talk to the tenants and have a reasonable discussion, and I mean, they're reasonable. I think we can come to a reasonable, agreement on the best
Bringing
way
up the
forward.
suggestion, yeah.
They've been in there 2 years. They want to renew. We're gonna talk about that in a second, so, they want to solve the problem too. So let's, I don't think we can lock it down. I think we need, at the end, we're gonna talk about it a little bit more, but we're gonna vote for $1 so we can do what we need to do. And then we'll see how it lays out. We can get a final report back to the
Is it
community.
rented now?
I'm sorry?
Is it rented now?
Yeah, the tenants have been in there the 2 years. They want to renew for a 3rd year. We're gonna talk about that in a second here. Is there anything else? Yes,
Yeah,
Kurt.
just a couple comments I'll throw out here that you made there. When they rented it, there was no mice in the house.
I was in the house for a month working on it, and I would say, I can't say there were no mice. I would say there was not a mouse problem. That's what I would say.
So
Not a problem. There were shortly after, though.
Yeah,
mouse problem has been created, has came upon since they've been there, so To me, they have to take some responsibility
But
here.
also the one component of why this falls on us to get it back under control is because there's the hole in the wall where the driveway needs
Oh,
to be.
I agree.
And
You gotta get it under
multiple
control.
holes in the wall between the garage and the basement living space. Those are structural things. Structural things fall on the landlord. So those are our responsibility to maintain and upkeep. When they happened and occurred and how they got to that space, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. But that's why we can't say, it was just the food, and we can't say it was just the holes in the wall. It was a combination of both. So let's address it and get on top of it and then transition it to their responsibility in a timely manner.
And James, did I hear you correctly? The garage door is left open
Well, I mean,
a lot of times?
some people leave their garage door open half the day or all day. I leave the garage, my shop doors open all day long. Okay, I got fewer mice in my shop than are in that house. I guarantee you. I don't have food out.
I live right next door to the rental. I keep my garage door closed 99% of the time. I have tons of mice in my garage, but I don't have mice in my house.
Because you have the barrier, you're basically fighting them in the garage and keeping them out of the house. That's our plan for that.
But even with
100%.
my door closed, I can catch 5 mice in a weekend.
So, I consider this a one-time expense. We just need to fix it and move on. And, that's what that'd be my thought,
And I'll just ask this question too, while you were in there, you drive by, you see how the blinds are damaged, broken, but did you see any other damage there? Are you at liberty to comment on that, or?
No, I would say in fairness to them, no. I would say that there are some concerns and we have talked to the renters about it. And we're talking about it prior to renewing the lease. That in fairness, these are neighbors, so that's the best I'm gonna do.
But I mean, you own rentals.
I do.
Personally.
Yeah, this was my rental. I fixed the mouse problem. Even though if they brought them in or they didn't bring them in or they came in luggage okay, I had holes on the outside of my house that allowed the mouse to get in. I'd fix the holes and I'd clean the mouse up. Particularly when somebody pays rent and they're not a problem, although there, maybe some damages and all, but generally they pay rent, there's not a problem. You take care of those people, because there are people that won't pay rent and they got mice.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, that's my thought on it.
Travis online has a comment.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I would say, this is Travis Gilbert, is that it is not an uncommon practice, especially in Manhattan with college rentals, to just have a fixed maintenance fee for pest control that is part of their lease. If it's $30 a month, and I'm not saying that we can do it now, but we're talking about renewing a lease that's coming up here in August. And then with future leases, especially it being an old house, and like Sarah said, none of us want to be the people to go deal with this shit. I think it's fair that if American Pest has a program and it's $30 a month or whatever it is, my suggestion is we pay until the lease renews, and then at lease renewal, it's tenant responsibility as part of our new lease. That would be my suggestion.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Travis. Anybody else in the room? Anybody else online?
Susan Tucker just commented, by involving the tenants, they would also make sure that they're doing their part to eliminate the problem.
That's true. Yeah, without a doubt, when you got to write a check, you're more motivated. I agree. Okay. So the board, you guys got anything? Okay. I think we need to solve the current issue. I think we need to kill the mice that are in the house. I'm uncomfortable trying to lock it down right now to say we will only do 3 months or we're going to split it. We need to talk to them. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to approve $1,500, which should not be that much. It's not that much. Okay. But I also don't want to come back and ask for another $100 or go over by $100. I don't know. So we'll just ask for $1,500, and at the next meeting, we'll have an update. I mean, it's going to be already installed. It's going to be up and running, and we're going to know, where we are, and we'll have an agreement with them, and we can let the community know how we're handling it. I mean, if this was your family, you'd want it to be handled fairly, and respectfully, and that's all we're trying to do, with the tenants.
So I make a motion. Oh, is there another comment?
Nothing real important. We're gonna try to be the expert. Somebody shared with me, if you can eliminate any dripping water, any access to water, that helps a lot. people over the step sometimes. There's any Griffin's boss.
Well, when it came out the drain, they had a bath. Okay. So do I hear a motion to approve up to $1,500 to pursue the corrective service option for American Pest to seal up exterior entry points for mice and set traps to catch the mice that are already in the house and
I,
not replace the attic insulation.
I make a motion to approve up to $1,500 to pursue the corrective service option from American Pest to seal up exterior entry points for mice and set traps to catch any mice that are in the house and not replace the attic insulation.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's been approved. To spend up to $1,500 to pursue the corrective service option, American Pest to seal up exterior entry points for mice and set traps to catch any mice that are already in the house and replace the attic insulation. There's also gonna be traps on the outside too. They're gonna hit it real hard here. Okay. So here's the next app. Current tenants have requested to renew their lease that expire or basically renews on August 1st. The tenants, and this is me talking, if the tenants are concerned about the attic insulation not being replaced, then we're gonna tell them after this meeting, we just voted, we're not gonna do it. We're gonna let them know. If they don't, if that's a concern for them, they have a problem with that, then, you know, if they want to leave early, they can leave early. If they don't want to renew, then they don't have to, you know, I mean, it's up to them. But we want to let them know, you know, our stance on that, so they're aware. So we'll let them know that. So current rent is $1,500 plus $50 a month for a pet. So I'm recommending raising the base rent $150 to $1,650, which we will need to discuss tonight. I've been saying it for a year, and now I'm gonna do it now that we're done with the covenant deal, is we intend to hire a management company to manage the rental by the end of the year. I'd like to have them in place by August. I really would. So I'm gonna gear up on that right now. A management company usually requires payment of about 10% of the rent, generally. They're gonna take more than that, because every time they come and do a call, they're gonna charge us 25, 30 bucks an hour or whatever it is. So it'll be more than 10%. That's a separate discussion. So where are we at with rent? What's your thought? So I said 150. And basically, Kurt, you touched on it. And I don't want to get into specifics, but you know, as you said, the blinds, an example, you know, there are renters, I own rentals. There are renters that are easy on rental properties, and there are renters that are hard on rental properties, particularly when you have kids. Kids are hard on everything. I had kids, I raised them, I know. So we know when we rented, there were 3 kids there. You know, we recognize there was a higher probability of things happening. But, you know, we are incurring more costs when you have a rental property and the cost to maintain the property goes up. You either eat it or you pass it on to the renter, or pass on part of it to the renter. And that's what I'm proposing we do, is we pass on, you know, the cost of the increased cost of maintaining this property. You know, our taxes and insurance goes up every year, as everybody's does. Okay, they signed the lease, they renewed once. This is their second renewal. We did not raise the rent the first 2 times. Okay, so that's my thought. That's the laying it out. So what do you ladies feel
You want to go first?
is appropriate?
In my experience, typical annual rental rate increases are about 3%. At our current rental rate of 1,500, that comes out to 49 and some change, so about $50. Given that this is their 3rd renewal period and we have not raised rent at all, the $150 raised now is right on par with that. I think Travis's idea of adding in some kind of pest maintenance or general maintenance fee would also be reasonable. So whether we want to call that $150 plus a $25 a month pest fee, or $125 plus 25 and still land at the $150, TBD. 150 is an okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Okay.
about the thing that Travis talked about, you know. I mean, as a landlord, I like to have a clean number, you know, and not adding fees on later. It's like you do them Airbnbs and then you get all the fees for cleaning and stuff, you know, just a straight number. Here's your rent number. Here's what I do. Here's what you do. You know, it's just cleaner that way. So I'm not saying no, I'm just saying we need to talk to them and have the renters and have a conversation to see where they stand. That's what I would say before we make a decision on that.
And I have a question. Is our rent reasonable
For
that size of house?
It is. So when we had, I had 2, I had Italian Estates. I had another one come in last year when we talked about trying to get the commercial guy, and they both said we were under the market, not ridiculously under, but we were under the market value. So,
Which I think being under is okay, given our location. Like, yes, we want to own homes out here. We would pay more to live out here, but renters typically want to be where amenities are at, where food is, where shopping is, where their job is. And that's not what we can offer out here. So being slightly below Manhattan inner city market is reasonable to me.
yeah, we're gonna give the 150 back. Basically, it's gonna go to the management company. We're not putting that in our pocket. Okay, that plus more every month, I guarantee it. So,
Well, I like that,
you
his
know.
point there.
There's a point. What's that?
Travis online suggested 1750 base rent, and he said there's a way smaller rental out here coming up for rent for 1600 a month. Travis, can you jump on and say like the Bed Bath square footage of that other one that you're talking about?
Yep. So that is, I was talking with Randy Taylor. It is his house that is currently rented to the superintendent out here for our school district, Blue Valley. And my understanding is the rent is going up. He's currently at 1,500 for that. And it is, I think, 1,300 square feet total. It is a small rental, like versus what we have, and less bedrooms as well.
Okay. And we don't need to be at the top, I think. So the 1650 number sounds reasonable. It is, less than something that maybe, it sounds like it's a little bigger than what Randy's got. And we're, the same or a little bit less than what Randy's charging,
And there's something to say for keeping the same tenant
It
in there
is.
and not having to deal
Yeah.
with turnover.
It's not about getting every dollar, that's not what it's about. The renters pay rent, they're not a problem, if the damage is there, we'll handle the damages. I think that 1650 is reasonable. And, in the end, UP will basically get the same thing that they got before, that's what I would say. That'd be my thought. So,
What's our total expenses on the property each year? Do you know roughly?
well, and
Insurance and taxes?
yeah, Sarah's got it. But can you pull it up, Sarah?
I can if you give me about 90
Yeah.
seconds.
She got a good report, and it says, if I recall, it says this year and last year, you can kind of see what the bump is. Now, I will say that 3 years ago, we did a renovation, spent a bunch of money. I don't know, 10, 12, I don't know what it was. A lot. It was a bunch of money. I don't know if it was 10. It could have been 10 though. We put granite in it. It was really nice renovation. So then we didn't do anything. Landlord wise, you didn't really do anything for 2 years. And now with the sewer cleaning, it's probably going to be over 1,000. And now this.
When did you replace the AC?
Oh, yeah.
At that same time.
Thank you. At the same time, that's probably where the 15 come from. The AC was like 7. That's right. I couldn't think why the thing rental was that much. Yeah, we did the AC at that time. So, and the time before that, we didn't do anything. We put a roof on it. And then 3 or 4 years before that, the previous board did a reno on it, and guys went and did a bunch of work on it. So, it's every 3 to 5 years, money gets spent on it, which is generally about right for a rental. If you don't ever put money in it, you're not going to get this rent.
It's been a few years since it's been painted inside and out.
No, I painted it.
You painted it 3 years ago.
Yes.
Before the run.
Yeah, I will say the
What's the
outside
west side looking?
of the,
Outside.
yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
When we were doing the mouse entry thing, holy crap, that's just pine slat
Well, it's cedar siding, we're cedar
or
siding.
cedar siding. There's so many holes in
But
it.
it's just so old,
Yeah,
and that's sun on the left side.
I would say that we're gonna have to paint it. And honestly, I would say we just pay somebody to do it. And now if there's a crew out here that wants to do it, bring it on, talk to the board, I'd rather not do that, okay? I'd rather the next board handle painting of the rental. That'd be my thought, not to say that we couldn't get it done, if there was somebody that really was motivated and want to get it done and bring it to us and have a plan, then we could work something out. But otherwise, I would rather let something slide to the next guy. I mean, it's not gonna fall off. It needs to be done. If it's not done this year, it needs to be done next year. It does need to be done. If it was my rent, I'd paint it this year. I would. Hell, I would have painted it. I painted houses worse than this, it needs
So,
painting.
I just have 2023 and 2024 in front of me. 2023 was the heavy year, with about $21,000 in expenses, but last year was $3,000. So
And we're bringing in about 18,000. So a year ago, we lost basically 33 on it. Now you're talking renovation, updates and taxes, insurance,
mhm.
figures.
And think about the rental. I mean, I say this the rental is what drives this community. You know, our taxes, we had $995 a year from our assessments. That's what we get. And because we're revenue neutral, and the board has chosen not to raise it. It used to be 5, and then it was, I don't know what it's down to 3 something now. So, you know, the number percentage is going to keep going down as our property values continue to rise. You see what I'm saying? So we're 3.7 today, and our property values all jump 10% next year. Then we're going to be 3.2, and it's going to keep going down. And we're only pulling same dollar, that same 985, whatever the number is. So that rental is what pays for everything that we do out here, all the things. So, you know, it's important that we keep it rented. Don't be so excessive in the rent that you run renters out and you can't rent it. And, you know, you have a rental empty for a month, that's money you're never going to get back. You know, you do not want to have a rental empty a month. And generally when somebody moves out, there's a month. So you need to keep that in mind, you know, if you start pushing rent up, you know, and people get mad and leave, and you do it the next time, it adds up, you know. So I'd rather keep a renter than to find a new one.
And all of our accounts are at a healthy balance right now. We have 3 accounts. If you look at the treasurer's report, the main one that we, you know, write daily checks and things out of is probably the only one that most people look at. But then there's an equipment fund and a rental house fund. And we did not touch those last year, and we did not touch those 2 the year before that. Both of those are sitting at 10,000 plus. So we could pull some of the reno and maintenance items from those instead of the daily check writing one if we wanted to.
Okay.
But all 3 of our accounts are pretty healthy.
Good. Okay. Any more discussion? Is there anything?
I'm sorry, I didn't, would you repeat that, please? I didn't quite catch it all.
We have 3 different accounts with University Park. They have the daily check writing fee, and then one that we just keep kind of for equipment, and then another one that we keep for big ticket items for the rental house. We have not spent any money out of those side 2 accounts in the last 3 years. They've just been hanging out, gaining interest, sitting there, and we've been able to float on our daily account and the Riley County Fund balance, and we've been great.
They're emergency funds, those 2 accounts. One's for tractor equipment. We need to buy a tractor, something happens, there's $10,000 in there. Nothing to buy a tractor. But then the rental's the same thing. When you're a landlord, you need to have money available that if you need to snake the drain, the plumber comes, you better have the money. So that's generally what that $10,000 is for. We need to put an AC in, something crazy. That's what that money's for, to make sure we have money. That's what that's about. We started that a while ago.
And they're all uploaded on the website.
Yeah. All the money's there on them. Everybody can see it.
Yeah, they're posted on every treasurer's report every month. It's just you might not look at the side 2 accounts as much.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve rent increase to $16.50, the base rent to $16.50 for the lease renewal of the UPID rental located at 11015 Lakeview Drive?
I make a motion for the rental increase to move up to $16.50 base rent.
Okay, all in favor?
I second.
Oh, good job.
Aye.
Aye. It's the last one. Okay, passes 16. I'm sorry, yeah.
What is the, like, the pet deposit and
50.
So wait, that rent
They paid a deposit.
of half the rent for a pet deposit, non-refundable, to go toward damage. And then they pay $50 a month for a pet.
Okay.
That is, we're not raising that. That's still included, you know, so it's $1,700 is what it is. Or get rid of the dog and it's $16.50.
So the $50 is not in your.
It is not.
50.
Right,
is
the
not.
16 is the base.
Yeah, we did base rent. That's what we just went to $16.50. Good. Let's see, okay, so it has been approved, the rent increase to $16.50 for the lease renewal of the UPID rental located Lakeview. Okay. Any other comments? Does not look like it. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
That's good. Didn't say that here. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned. It's like French. Adjourned.